Israeli forces have carried out raids in the city of Nablus in the occupied West Bank. One Palestinian has been shot and injured in Nablus. The Israeli army has deployed more tanks in several areas, including the cities of Tubas and Hebron. Israel has stepped up its daily deadly raids in the occupied West Bank since the beginning of the war on Gaza. Killings of residents by armed settlers have also increased. Well, our correspondent Nida Ibrahim is joining us live in the studio. A lot of the news agenda, of course, has been dominated by what's been happening in Gaza, but we can't lose sight of what's been happening elsewhere. Just bring us up to date with what the latest is.
Yes, the Israeli forces have been raiding different cities, as you mentioned there, Hebron, Nablus, but also Bethlehem, El-Bira, which is a city adjacent to Ramallah. So these are areas that are considered as part of Area A among the Oslo Accords that were signed between Israel and the Palestinian Authority back in the 90s. But as Palestinians would tell you, that Israel takes no regard to this issue, that the PA should be controlling Area A. They raid the cities day in and day out. We must also not forget that the Israeli forces have been raiding Tul Karim, Nur Shams refugee camps, Jenin refugee camp, since mid-January, and these raids are ongoing where invasions are continuous, but not only that, house demolitions as well. And today we're seeing a large-scale raid that's happening all across the occupied West Bank, injuring people. You know, people can be going to their schools, can be going to their work when they are suddenly surprised by Israeli military jeeps raiding them. Yesterday, for example, we've seen Israeli forces raiding Nablus, but before that, they sent undercover units to the city. So basically they're disguised in Palestinian clothing, Palestinian cars, and then they catch people off guard before the raid starts. And that could lead to also violent confrontations. Also, we've seen yesterday night a Palestinian man, young boy, was killed in Jericho in the occupied West Bank. That gives us, again, the nature of the violence that is happening in the occupied West Bank. But because of the scale of the relentless bombardment in Gaza, often eyes turn there. But what's happening in the West Bank is not less serious.
Just briefly, Nida, I want to ask you, give us some context about the fact that Israeli forces, if I understand it correctly, are targeting currency exchanges. Now, I know this is something that has happened before, but it kind of disappeared off the radar for a bit. Just talk to us briefly about that.
Well, they often raid money transfer shops. We've been covering it from there. Last year in Ramallah, we've seen how when they were raiding one exchange shop, they set the whole vegetable market on fire. But today what's happening is that they're raiding several money transfer shops across the occupied West Bank. And the Israeli army has released a statement saying that these money transfer shops are used for funding what they call terrorism. Of course, Palestinians would deny that. There's no way. They say that Israel can prove that this money is being given or funneled to Palestinian fighting groups amongst the occupied West Bank. What we should also remember that no matter how many fighting groups in the occupied West Bank there are, they're still very small groups, very limited, and there has been a crackdown on them, specifically in Jenin and Tul Karim. So Palestinians would tell you this is a way that Israel reminds the community who has the upper hand and control over all aspects of their lives, including money.
Nida, thank you very much indeed for breaking that down for us. Nida Ibrahim, thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.